This training is about actually preparing commercial astronauts before, during, and after their space flights. It's all about preparing them for the different stages of flight and the psychological challenges that actually go along with those different phases of flight. In addition, this training is really good for commercial astronauts who will be flying with other commercial astronauts in order to understand and create strategy and how to deal with potential conflict of other people traveling with them.
This training is actually for quite a few different people with different motivations. First of all, you could think of the person who wants the thrill of going into space and somersaulting in weightlessness. Or you might think of the couple who wants to share an experience that they'll remember for the rest of their lifetime. You might also think about people who are inspired to be ambassadors for something like sustainability. And then there are a whole fourth group who want a taste of the future, and they're really stepping into this as their calling or their career.
In fact, it's for people who really want to get organized for their space flight, not only physically but also psychologically. And they're going to need to understand the tactics of going into space. There are other people who want to really maximize their period of weightlessness, those 4 minutes. And there's going to be a lot of action before the weightlessness, and lots of high G-forces, and if they are just starting to come down from those high G-forces, they will maybe miss some of their precious weightlessness time. It's all about optimizing your spaceflight and getting the most of that once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Well, we know that some astronauts who go into space have peak experiences, but not all of them do. And so we wanted to create the conditions for space tourists and researchers to possibly have a peak experience. Now, a peak experience can be explained scientifically or spiritually, and whichever explanation that you prefer, we've learned through research that there's ways to create those conditions. First of all, we know a lot about peak performance. For instance, athletes are people who work at actually having excellent performance. And then there's the peak experience, which is a holistic state of a really unified experience of the universe, and we really feel this is what we want to offer those who participate.
Participants can learn the situational awareness flow protocol, which is all about understanding the different flight phases and the appropriate psychological response during those different phases. They can learn how to create solutions to overcome conflicting objectives with other passengers on the flight, and to also prepare themselves for their future role as social ambassadors when they come back from their space flight. Most space courses are focused actually on the physical, teaching people how to deal with the physical G-forces of flight. Inner space training is all about recognizing the psychological challenges for each of the different flight phases and trying to keep people in a calm, focused state using a tool called brainwave entrainment, and then being able to reactivate it during their very stressful flight. And brainwave entrainment has been used by NASA and the US military for over 40 years for its pilots to remain calm during very stressful times.
Well, one of the ways I like to think about this training is there are sports psychologists for athletes. Well, we're space psychologists for astronauts.